Maniac 13 here, and welcome to another Skyrim book reading. For those of you who don't know, this is a series I'm doing on well, not really going over, but just reading all the books in Tamriel. I might do the same thing with Oblivion and Morrowind eventually, but this is a Skyrim book reading, okay? Yeah. And if those of you who know about any of the books, if you have any recommendations or any suggestions on what you want me to read next, leave a comment down and below. Now, for those of you who don't know, um, these books that I will be reading, some are longer, some are short. I haven't really read them all because there's a lot of them, but some are lore within the game, and then some are just little stories within the game. Like some of it's lore, some of it's books that writers in the game lore writ and whatnot. But yeah, all confusing and all this and that. But with all further ado, let's get down to business. Alright. YouTube, don't demonetize me. Um, we are doing, this time, we are doing Volume 1 of A Dance in Fire. Now I heard this is a good tale. Alright, let's get into this. A Dance in Fire, Chapter 1, by Wayhan Joss. Now, before we do start more into the book, I do apologize if I mispronounce words or whatnot, or any of the words in the game, because some are from like the game and and some of their languages or whatnot, and so if I mess up grammar wise, again, I apologize. I'm still getting kind of used to reading certain words, and yeah. Scene: the Imperial City, Cyrodiil. Date: 7 Frostfall. 3E 39-7. It seemed as if the palace had always housed the Atreus Building Commission, the company of clerks and estate agents who authored and notarized nearly every construction of any note in the empire. It had stood for 250 years, since the reign of the Emperor Magnus, a plain-fronted and austere hall on a minor but respectable plane. In the imperial city, energetic and ambitious middle-class lads and ladies worked there, as well as complacent, middle-aged ones like Decumus Scotti. No one could imagine a world without the Commission. Least of all, Scotti. To be accurate, he could not imagine a world without himself in the Commission. Lord Atreus is perfectly aware of your contributions, said the managing clerk, closing the shutter that democrated Scotty's office behind him. But you know that things have been difficult. Yes, said Scotty, stiffly. Lord Vanach Welch's men have been giving us a lot of competition lately, and we must be more efficient if we are to survive. Unfortunately, that means releasing some of our historically best, but presently underachieving senior clerks. I understand. Can't I understand. Can't be helped. I'm glad that you understand, smiled the managing clerk, smiling thinly and withdrawing. Please, have your room cleared immediately. Scotty began the task of organizing all his work to pass on to his successor. It would probably be young Embralius who would take most of it on. Which was as it should be considered philosophy. The lad knew how to find business. Scotty wondered idly what the fellow would do with the contracts for the new state of Saint Alicia, for which the temple of the One had applied. Probably invent a clerical error. Blame it on his old predecessor, Decumus Scotty, and require an additional cost to rectify. I have correspondence for Decumus Scotty of the Atreus Building Commission. Scotty looked up. A fat-faced cur had entered his office and was thrusting forth a sealed scroll. He handed the boy a gold piece and opened it up. By the poor penmanship, atrocious spelling and grammar, like myself, an overall unprofessional tone. Man, they're calling me out. It was manifestly evident who the writer was. Leonidas Jers, a fellow clerk some years before, who had left the commission after being accused of unethical business practices. Dear Scotty, I imagine you allow wondered what happened to me. In the last place, you would have expected to find me is out in the woods. But that's exactly where I am. If you're smart and want to make a lot of extra gold for Lord Atreus, and yourself, of course, you'll come down to Valenwood, too. If you haven't or have been following the politics here lately, you may or may not know that there's been a war between the Bossmere and the neighbors. Oh, the voice is killing me. Elsewhere, over the past 2 years, things have only just calmed down. And there's a lot that needs to be rebuilt.
Now I've got more business than I could handle. But I need someone with some clout, per se. Someone representing a respected agency to get the quill and the ink. That someone is you, my friend. Come. Agreement. Come, G. Meet me at the Mythier Pasco's Tavern in Valenwood. 3, be there. 2 weeks. And you won't be sorry. Curious. P.S. Bring a wagon load of timber if you can.
What do you have there, Scotty?
Asked the voice. Scotty started. It was Imbralius, his damnable, handsome face peeking through the shutters, smiling in that way that melted the hearts of the stingiest of patrons, and the roughest of stonemasons. Scotty shoved the letter in his jacket pocket.
Personal correspondence? He sniffed. I'll be cleared up here in just a moment. I don't want to hurry you, said
Ambralius, grabbing a few sheets of blank contracts
from Scotty's desk. I've just gone through a stack, and the junior scribe's hands are all cramping up, so I thought you wouldn't miss a few. The lad vanished. Scotty retrieved the letter and read it again. He thought about it. His life. Something he rarely did. It seemed a sea of gray with a black, insurmountable wall looming. There was only one narrow passage he could see in that wall quickly before he had a moment to reconsider it. He grabbed a dozen of the black contracts. Sorry about that. Controller died.
Reconsider it. He grabbed a dozen of the blank contracts with the shimmering gold leaf. Atreus Building Commission by appointments of His Imperial Majesty. And hid them in the satchel
with his personal effects.
The next day he began his adventure with a giddy lack of hesitation. He arranged for a seat in a caravan, bound for his Valenwood, the single escorted conveyance to the southeast, leaving the imperial city that week. He had scarcely hours to pack, but he remembered to purchase a wagon load of timber.
It will be extra gold to pay for a horse to pull that.
Throne the convoy head.
So I anticipated.
Smiled Scotty with his best and briliest grin. 10 wagons, and all set of that afternoon, through the familiar Cyrodiilic countryside, past fields of wild flowers gently rolling, woodlands, friendly hamlets, the clop of the horses' hooves against the sound stone road reminded Scotty that the Atreus Building Commission constructed it. 5 of the 18 necessary contracts for its completion were drafted by his own hand.
Very smart of you.
Very smart. Very smart of you to bring that wood along.
Oh, I can't do that voice no more. It's killing me.
Said a grey-whiskered Breton man next to him on his wagon.
You must be in commerce. Of a sort. Of a sort.
Said Scotty, in a way he hoped was mysterious before introducing himself.
Decimus Scotty. Grief Malin,
said the man.
I'm a poet, actually. A translator of old Bosmer literature. I was researching some newly discovered tracks of the Minorade play bar 2 years ago. When the war broke out and I had to leave, you are no doubt familiar with the Minorade, if you're aware of the Green Pact.
Scotty thought the man might be speaking perfect gibberish, but he nodded his head.
Naturally, I don't pretend that the Minorad is as renowned as the Aliadin, or as ancient as the Dancirgol, but I think it has a remarkable significance to understanding the nature of the Uralithic Bosmer mind, the origin of the wood elf, aversion to cutting their own wood, or eating any plant material at all, yet paradoxically their willingness to import plant stuff from other cultures, I feel can be linked to a passage in the Imnorade.
Malin shuffled through some of his papers, searching for the appropriate text. To Scotty's vast relief, the carriage soon stopped to camp for the night. They were high on a bluff, over a gray stream, and before them was the great valley of Valenwood. Only the cry of seabirds declared their presence of the ocean to the bay to the west. Here the timber was so tall and wide, twisting around itself like an impossible knot, begun eons ago, to be impenetrable. A few more modest trees, only 50 feet to the lowest branches, stood on the cliff at the edge of camp. The sight was so alien to Scotty, and he found himself so anxious about the proposition of entering the wilderness that he could not imagine sleeping. Fortunately, Malin had supposed he had found another academic with a passion for the riddles of ancient cultures. Long into the night, he recited Bosmere verse in the original and in his own translation, sobbing and bellowing and whispering wherever appropriate. Gradually, Scotty began to feel drowsy, but a sudden crack of wood snapping made him sit straight up.
What was that?
Malin smiled.
I like it too. Convocation and the malignity of the moonless speculum. A dance of fire! There are some enormous birds up in the trees moving around.
There are some enormous birds up in the tree moving around, whispered Scotty, pointing in the direction of the dark shapes above.
I wouldn't worry about that,
said Malin, irritated with his audience.
Now listen to how the poet characterizes Hermea Mora's invocation and the 18th stagna of the 4th book.
The dark shapes in the trees were some of them perched like birds, others slithered like snakes, and still others stood up straight like men. As Malin recited his verse, Scotty watched the figures softly leap from branch to branch, half gliding across impossible distances for anything without wings. They gathered in groups and then recognized until they had spread to every tree around the camp. Suddenly they plummeted from the heights.
Mara!
Cried Scotty.
They're falling like rain! Probably seed pods.
Malin shrugged, not turning around.
Some of the trees have remarkable...
The camp erupted into chaos. Fires burst out of the wagons. The horses wailed from mortal blows. Casks of wine, fresh water, and liquor gushed their contents. To the ground, a nimble shadow dashed past Scotty and Malin, gathering sacks of grain and gold with impossible agility and grace. Scotty had only one glance at it, lit up by a sudden nearby burst of flame. It was a sleek creature with pointed ears, wide yellow eyes, molted pied fur, and a tail like a whip.
Werewolf!
He whimpered, shrieking back.
Catherine Rabbit?
Groaned Malin. Much worse.
Oh no. Much worse. Khajiit cousins of some such thing can to plunder? Are you sure?
As quickly as they struck, the creatures retreated, diving off the bluff before the battle mage and knights, the caravan's escorts, had fully opened their eyes. Malin and Scotty ran to the precipice and saw 100 feet below the tiny figures dash out of the water, shake themselves, and disappear into wood.
Werewolves aren't acrobats like that,
said Malin.
They were definitely Cathay, right? Bastard thieves. Thank Stendar. They didn't they didn't release the value of my notebooks. It wasn't a complete loss. Well, that is all for Chapter 1, Volume 1 of A Dance and Fire. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And, yeah, if there's any books you would recommend, because on what you want me to read next, just let me know in the comments. I can continue to dance in the fire, or we could start something different with one of these. Yeah. I'm still kind of new to this, but work better over time. Get better over time. I do really hope you all enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching. I have a Twitter now. The link for that will be in the description, alongside with now it's more public that I stream, so I'm pretty sure you guys know I stream, but for those of you who don't, the link to that will be in the description. And yeah, this has been Fallout Maniac 13, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay radioactive, my fellow maniacs.